Earnings have been coming in. They have been disappointing in terms of revenues and sales, and Apple is no exception. Apple shares are tumbling in after-hours trading. They're down over 8%. That's after the company reported disappointing iPhone sales for the vital holiday season. Mark Nee joins us now from Silicon Valley with more on that and the future of Apple and its product pipeline. Mark, some disappointing revenue figures there.
That's right. Apple posted quarterly earnings that beat estimates, but iPhone sales fell short of expectations and revenue forecasts also underwhelmed. They were expected to be this quarter between $42 billion and $44 billion versus expectations of $46.05 billion. Apple posted the iPhone sales fell short, but the iPad actually did well, which the company says is an all-time quarterly record. But it was the iPhone that disappointed. Apple sold 51 million units during the quarter, a good 4 million units short of what analysts had expected. Expectations, of course, are always notoriously high for Apple, as each quarter it faces constant pressure to innovate and stay one step ahead of the competition. Apple fans and analysts alike already scouring through blogs and examining potential leaks, all in anticipation of what will come next. Apple fan Shelley Wolf loves her Apple products. She just purchased an iPhone 5S and thinks it's almost perfect.
It's so light that it doesn't feel like a real phone. The next version, I would say I'd like to see it a little bit bigger. Even though it fits my hands perfectly, I do feel like I drop it quite often, so I'd like to see it a little bit larger.
Shelley wants it to be more substantial, and that may be in the works. The blogosphere is lighting up, with sources within the supply chain claiming the next iPhone will increase its current 4-inch screen size and move closer to the 5-inch mark.
The vast majority of people spend most of their time on their smartphones, not talking on the phone, but actually running applications and doing things where you want a bigger screen. Once you start using the larger Android and even Windows phone-based phones, and then you compare it to an iPhone, the current iPhone looks kind of like a toy.
But the big challenge with increasing screen size are the dimensions, getting apps that work on older iPhones to run seamlessly on a new, larger screen. Even though the iOS 7 operating system is better at scaling applications, many of those applications still have not been written to take advantage of those features. That's why O'Donnell says this time around a larger iPhone could be released after first giving developers adequate time to make scaling adjustments. Most analysts also expect a second, cheaper iPhone, though of a different material or color scheme than the recent plastic iPhone 5C, which by all accounts failed to capture the low-budget market.
Apple doesn't ever want to lose the value of its brand, and they risk doing that by coming out with a super low-end device. The question is, for Apple to really be successful in China, they need to get to that kind of, upper middle class in the tier 2, tier 3 type cities. And to do that, they may need to come up with a lower cost option.
O'Donnell expects Apple to unveil the next iPhone in the second half of the year. O'Donnell also predicts by 2018, 1 in every 3 smartphones we're carrying will be categorized as a phablet, the size somewhere between a phone and a tablet. It's also important to note that the recent deal with China Mobile is not reflected in these earnings. In the earnings call, CEO Tim Cook said Apple had been selling with China Mobile for a week. That last week was the best they've ever had for activations in China. Apple is currently selling in 16 cities in China and will be at more than 300 by year's end. Michelle.